Cannery Row, Chapter 7, Part 2 of Chapter 7. Now, on the afternoon when Hazel was out collecting with Doc in the great tide pool, the boys were sitting around in the palace sipping the result of Eddie's latest contribution. Gay was there too, the latest member of the group. Eddie sipped speculatively from his glass and smacked his lips. "It's funny how you get a run," he said. "Take last night. There was at least 10 guys ordered Manhattans. Sometimes maybe you don't get 2 calls for a Manhattan in a month. It's the grenadine gives the stuff that taste." Mac tasted his, a big taste, and refilled his glass. "Yes," he said somberly, "it's little things make the difference." He looked about to see how this gem had set with the others. Only Gay got the full impact. "Sure is," he said. "Where's Hazel today?" Mac asked. Jones says, "Hazel went out with Doc to get some starfish." Mac nodded his head soberly. "That Doc is a hell of a nice fella," he said. "He'll give you a quarter any time. When I cut myself, he put on a new bandage every day. A hell of a nice fella." The others nodded in profound agreement. "I've been wondering for a long time," Mac continued, "what we could do for him. Something nice. Something he'd like." "He'd like a dame," said Huey. "He's got 3 or 4 dames," said Jones. "You can always tell when he pulls them front curtains closed and when he plays that kind of church music on the phonograph." Mac said reprovingly to Huey, "Just because he doesn't run no dame naked through the streets in the daytime, you think Doc's celibate?" "What's celebrate?" Eddie asked. "That's when you can't get no dame," said Mac. "I thought it was a kind of a party," said Jones. A silence fell on the room. Mac shifted in his chaise longue. Huey let the front legs of his chair down on the floor. They looked into space, and then they all looked at Mac. Mac said, Eddie said, "What kind of a party do you think Doc would like?" "What other kind is there?" said Jones. Mac mused. "Doc wouldn't like this stuff from the winin' jug." "How do you know?" Huey demanded. "You never offered him none." "Oh, I know," said Mac. "He's been to college. Once I seen a dame in a fur coat go in there. Never did see her come out. It was 2 o'clock the last I looked, and that church music going. No, you couldn't offer none of this." He filled his glass again. "This tastes pretty nice after the 3rd glass," Huey said loyally. "No," said Mac, "not for Doc. Have to be whiskey, the real thing." "He likes beer," said Jones. "He's all the time going over to Lee's for beer, sometimes in the middle of the night." Mac said, "I figure when you buy beer, you're buying too much tar. Take 8% beer. Why, you're spending your dough for 92% water and color and hops and stuff like that. Eddie," he added, "you think you could get 4 or 5 bottles of whiskey at La Ida next time Whitey's sick?" "Sure," said Eddie. "Sure I could get it, but that'd be the end. No more golden eggs. I think Johnny's suspicious anyways. Other day he says, 'I smell a mouse named Eddie.' I was going to lay low and only bring the jug for a while." "Yeah," said Jones. "Don't you lose that job. If something happened to Whitey, you could fall right in there for a week or so till they get somebody else. I guess if we're going to give a party for Doc, we got to buy the whiskey. How much is whiskey a gallon?" "I don't know," said Huey. "I never get more than half a pint at a time myself. At one time, that is. I figure you get a quart and right away you got friends, but you get half a pint and you can drink it in the lot before you got a lot of folks around." "It's going to take dough to give Doc a party," said Mac. "If we're going to give him a party at all, it ought to be a good one. Should have a big cake. I wonder when is his birthday?" "Don't need a birthday for a party," said Jones. "No, but it's nice," said Mac. "I figure it would take $10 or $12 to give Doc a party you wouldn't be ashamed of." They looked at one another speculatively. Huey suggested, "The Hediondo Cannery is hiring guys." "No," said Mac quickly. "We got good reputations and we don't want to spoil them. Every one of us keeps a job for a month or more when we take one. That's why we can always get a job when we need one. Suppose we take a job for a day or so. Why, we'll lose our reputation for sticking. Then if we needed a job, there wouldn't nobody have us." The rest nodded quick agreement. I figure I'm going to work a couple of months, November and part of December, said Jones. Makes it nice to have money around Christmas. We could cook a turkey this year. By God, we could, said Mac. I know a place up Carmel Valley where there's 1,500 in one flock. Valley, said Huey. You know, I used to collect stuff up the valley for Doc, turtles and crayfish and frogs. Got a nickel apiece for frogs. Me too, said Gay. I got 500 frogs one time. If Doc needs frogs, it's a setup, said Mac. We could go up the Carmel River and have a little outing, and we wouldn't tell Doc what it was for, and then we'd give him one hell of a party. Quiet excitement grew in the palace flophouse. Gay, said Mac, take a look out the door and see if Doc's car is in front of his place. Gay sat down his glass and looked out. Not yet, he said. Well, he ought to be back any minute, said Mac. Now, here's how we'll go about it.